It's really that simple. Everything we do leaves a ripple. It's really that simple. Everything we do leaves a ripple. A ripple in time that turns to a wave. You either surf it or it crashes down. Choose your adventure, cause eventually you're ashes. So I live for my passions. Ain't no life passing me by. I'm all about action. We can talk about it later when we feel the effects, cause they were lasting. Putting in the work now, so later we can kick back. I ain't got no 401k, just a click track. Making something out of nothing, then that something gives back. Residual energy, call that the feedback. Loop it up and make a new arrangement, then bump that to infinity and back to the present, where we put it on wax so we can deliver the message to the people tuning in on the earbuds, or if they hear it on the speakers in the big club. These days it's rare to hear something unique. Copycats copying copycats and sounding weak. I'm here to leave an impression, cause it seems the rap scene is in a depression. It's really that simple. Everything we do leaves a ripple. It's really that simple. Everything we do leaves a ripple. It's really that simple. Everything we do leaves a ripple. It's really that simple. Everything we do leaves a ripple. Smooth as glass, perfect reflection, placid. Had to shake it up, change the perception. Laughing instead of crying and complaining, control the emotions. Even when it's raining, the grass is growing, and I'm knowing that it takes hardship to build character. That's why I'm breathing it in, don't need an air filter. Building up resistance, immune to the garbage. Sticking to my heart, that's the life of an artist. Hardest thing I've done is stay true to it. A lot of cats fall off, don't follow through with it. I try to not get lost when I'm looking for myself. The moral compass guides us to find the true north. Stick to the path, I stay on course. Of course I lost my way a couple times to find my voice. Now that I found it, I'ma use it, make some noise. Better yet, some music so our souls can rejoice. It's really that simple. Everything we do leaves a ripple. It's really that simple. Everything we do leaves a ripple. It's really that simple. Everything we do leaves a ripple. It's really that simple. Everything we do leaves a ripple.
All right. Hey, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Oh, redo? No, we don't. Hold on. I meant to pause that. Sorry about that. Maybe redo now. So, hey, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be in this beautiful, transformative, awakening, healing, chaotic planet of ours. This is Metaphysical Meetup with Marc here live on my Facebook page. Good morning to my followers. Good morning to my subscribers, top fans, Patreon prospectors, Diamond Hub. All of you are awesome. And this morning, I want to talk about, there's been a lot going on in my life, needless to say, both my personal life, my career, transformation. It's kind of like, if you imagine when Neo first woke up in the Matrix and he's covered in all that goo and he's got a big tube down his throat and he's pulling the tube out and kind of looking around going, what the hell is going on? And then getting flushed down to where he finally gets picked up by his crew. If you've seen the movie The Matrix, which to this day, I don't believe it's a movie anymore. I believe it's actually a documentary. So I'll just kind of, I'll let that sink in for a second. But this morning, I wanted to talk about questions of perspective. A lot of times, we're in such a society right now where we're so trying to work through our technology, if you will, right? It's really with social media. And if you just backtrack with me for a second, go back to the late 90s where the internet started to, so you have the internet and then companies started using the intranet, right? And the internet, when it was first launched, came with so many hats and labels and fears and doubts and it's going to be the end of the world, right? It's we're going to be all connected. And then we started to see, I think around 2007, the first iPhone was launched, and then social media soon after followed that. And the social media didn't have any, even to this day, social media does not have a lot of parameters. You can pretty much, whatever your belief is, you're entitled to your belief, right? You're entitled to your perspective, but your belief does not make things fact, right? there are certain factual things in society. And what that's done is you've got people that are in power, media, social media, politicians, and they can take the narrative and they can run with their perspective, but it doesn't make it fact. What that does is that divides people. And that's a very dangerous place for us to be moving towards. If you followed my journey, I have said for, I think in 2018, before the pandemic even hit, I started talking about how the roaring 20s were going to be very, very transformative, very chaotic, very violent, a lot of things discovered, from communications to medicine to travel to technology to what we now classify as the digital transformation. Pre-pandemic, we were going into offices. Post-pandemic, now we're not. We're actually doing Zoom rooms and meetings, and businesses are realizing that they're losing. There's a ripple effect. And that song that I played at the beginning of the show was, everything has a ripple, and we're seeing the ripple effects of what's taking place in our society. And again, you're always entitled to your perspective. And that's a big part of being a spiritualist, which is much different than religion. I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. And there's a huge difference. And I had to learn that over years. And, religion is really more forceful, that you need to believe, somebody's story or narrative. You're not really entitled to your perspective. And that's what spiritual is. Spiritualism is connecting to the God within, what you envision as God. Here on Metaphysical Meetup with Marc, I never try to tell you who or what God is, because I just don't think I have the intelligence, the education to try to even explain. All I can tell you is from my experiences and from the thousands of readings I've done with people all around the world, there is something after death. There is life that continues. There is energy that moves on. And, as of today, I think there's five, I'm trying to remember, somebody had posted it the other day. I want to say that there's like 5,000 different gods around the planet, and that only yours is right. So what we're starting to see is perspectives being challenged and perspectives being accepted as fact when they're not. And again, I know that there is something after this. This is why I said The Matrix is a documentary, not a movie, because it makes you wonder if we, just bear with this perspective for a second. Again, here on Meetup with me, we're a smorgasbord, we're a buffet. I just lay things out for you to encourage you, motivate you, think outside the box. We can agree to disagree, but we don't have to be unkind about it. And there's a lot of unkindness in this world right now. There's a lot of bullying energy. There's a lot of energy that reminds me of pre-World War II, 1930s generation. That's what this time in space reminds me of. But it's really knowing that, are we in a matrix? How do we know that we're not artificial intelligence that has, even some of the smartest people have talked about, we don't know if technology has advanced so much. How do we know that we're not in the matrix? How do we know? There was even a commercial I saw the other day. I can't remember her name, but she was talking about, she was on a call and she's like, how do I know you're not a robot? And she goes, well, I'm not a robot, but how do I know that you're not a robot, right? How do we know that we're not robots? Because we do go to sleep, right? Every night, we know that if we don't have sleep, we have to shut down, right? We have to regenerate, we have to rejuvenate, we have to plug in. We call that sleep. And I've long been fascinated with sleep and why the brain becomes more active asleep than it does awake. And, who's to say? Science can't prove that yet. How do we know that we're not some sort of reality show for an intelligent species watching the chaos of what we do, right? Or that it is like the Matrix, that we are plugged in and then we unplug when we go to sleep. How do we know that we're not artificial intelligence? How do we know? We don't, right? We have our beliefs and we have our perspectives, but it's just food for thought. It's something to think about. And today's show, I figured we'd just do a little bit of perspective and talk about perspective. If you want to learn more about who I am or what I do or my podcast, we just had a fabulous show last Wednesday with Brandy Gilmore talking about healing, the aspects of healing your mind, healing your body from within, because we have a lot of stuff out in the material world and popping pills and paying thousands of dollars when really the access can be very accessible to you from, guidance and coaching and breath work and, learning about the ancient modalities of who we are, the auric field, our adrenals, our nervous system, our pineal gland. Our thoughts carry, energy. Our words carry that ripple effect out. Everything is energy and frequency and vibration. Everything you think about, look, everything behind me is energy. Everything has a vibration. You're seeing me in the physical form as of now because this is the vibration that I'm vibrating. If you speed up my heart, which is based on energy, you speed up that frequency, and all of a sudden my auric field and my energy field and my, it's called the human energy field, or the HEF by science. In spiritualism, you call it the auric field. Your cells, if you speed those up to a point, you actually would disappear physically. You would no longer see me if my energy sped up. So when you slow energy down and speed energy up, it's like there is no death. A lot of people, I've really come to learn. In last week's show, I talked about the cages of our mind have an open door. And if you've ever read Marcus Aurelius' quotes in his book, he talked about envisioning what your death looks like every day. Some of you don't want to do that, and that's fine. I get that. I didn't want to do that when I started my journey. But now I realize that there is no death. There's only a change of worlds. There's a change of frequencies. I was taught in religion early on that if I had to be a good boy, and if I wasn't a good boy, I didn't get to go up to heaven in the big pearly gates. And if I was a bad boy, I had to go down to the gates of hell and burn in eternity. I mean, how scary is that, right? That's religion is really good at dogma and fear and control and make sure you pay your 10%. And there's a lot of different religions out there, but a lot of it is control and dogma. And I just did never feel right with that. I felt like, if whoever or whatever God is, and I've had my own experiences, I've had the connection to the Christ consciousness, I've had my experiences through other means and other modalities, but I know that there is something, that death is not the end. And so I try to envision what my death looks like and what that next journey looks like, and knowing that my energy, my memories, my love will always continue on. And I know this because of the readings I do. I had a reading last night, and she asked, one of her dear friends had passed away, and he had come forward, and she said, "Well, my husband's not in the reading tonight." And I said, "That's fine. We can still ask your friend. Won't give names just for personal privacy reasons." But I said, let me just do what I do and what I teach my students and what I've done myself and what I've learned from great mentors that have taught me over the years. And that's just to ask, believe, take in a divine breath, receive information, and then perceive information based on your experiences. And you may receive information in many different ways. You may get it clairvoyantly. You may get it clairsentiently. You may get it claircognitively, a sense of knowing. It may hit you in your gut. You may smell something, which we call clairfactor. You may taste on your tongue, clairgustance. You may hear something, like I was hearing a song playing, clairaudience. So you use your clairs to receive this information. And sure enough, I did that. And I said, would you understand the knife? And would you understand the connection to music from the 1970s, and specifically a song from the 1990s? I think it was Belle Biv DeVoe and something else. I can't remember. But anyway, she was like, yes, I could totally resonate with that. And I said, good, then tell your husband that information from his good friend that passed over. So even when I'm doing these readings, there are times as the medium in between what I see in the physical world and what I know that is unseen. And I always tell you, if you follow my journey, just because you don't see it does not mean it's not here. And science has proven that. The telescope, the microscope, the James Webb telescope, our own auric field, our own intuition. Intuition is experiencing what is not seen. And we have 3 eyes in life: 2 to look, 1 to see. And so when I told her that, just brought instant tears to her eyes. And I don't love making people cry. I love being a part of a healing moment, a grief moment, to confirm that death is not the end, to confirm through evidence and through accuracy. Or otherwise, I'm just a really good guesser, and I don't believe that anymore. I used to when I first started. I'm like, maybe I was just guessing at that and got that right. No, it's the essence of there is energy that is all around us. And if you can download it out, if you can upload that, just like the cloud and technology that we learned. If we had this conversation 20 years ago, you'd be like, what are you talking about, the cloud? What are you talking about, Google? Which is actually, I believe, if I was reading the story correct, that Google was actually by mistake, right? And I don't remember how it played out, but it ended up being Google, which is not a word, but now it's a word we know today, right? So there are going to be things now that we have no idea that we will present in the future, of words, of concepts, of uploading, of downloading. I remember the first connection to the internet was you would connect to the internet. You'd say, well, where is the internet? Where do you go to connect to the internet? And it was AOL, it was dial-up. You would actually use a phone line. I don't even have a phone in my office except for my smartphone, right? You would literally use a hard line to connect in to the World Wide Web, the www. Bing, 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 bing. And you had to wait like 30 seconds to a minute. Now I'm dating myself. Some of you watching have never even experienced that, and you've grown up in the world with internet, social media, technology. But it's going to change. It's going to increase. Moore's law tells us every 18 months, technology and accelerate. It gets faster and faster until it reaches a point where it can't move anymore. And we're seeing that with AI, robotics, physics is changing, concepts of science are changing, concepts of medicine are changing based on our understanding of energy, frequency, vibration. Just watched a gentleman give a keyboard command via computer based on thought, right? So we're really becoming aware that we're so much more. And when we believe that and when we tune into that, society changes. And so, with everything going on, I know it's crazy out there. I love listening to the lies, when you know the truth, right? And, don't get caught up in groupthink. Don't be part of the sheeple. Think for yourself. Be your own individual, right? Because it's really easy to get into that groupthink and follow the crowd. I know I was in the military. I was in religion for several years. I was in the military, the U.S. Coast Guard for 8 years. I know about following the herd, following the crowd, right? But I never really fit in with that. And I realized, from years ago that there was a different path for me spiritually, and to be able to help people as a grieving coach, as a grieving student. I always say I was at one point in my life, I was a student of great loss and grief. But today, in what I do and what I teach and podcasts and my articles and my book, I talk about this in my book. If you want to get my book, it's called Between Worlds Reflections through Best American Psychics. I talk about coming to this journey that I didn't sign up for. I didn't raise my hand to do this. This was something that chose me, and I fought it for many years. But then I started to realize, yeah, there is more to than everything that I've been being told or led to believe. And that's a hard place to be. You almost have to unlearn everything that you've learned. And for some of you, that awakening or the shakening, like it did for me, that shakening caused the awakening through great loss. And like I said, a student of great loss and grief, but today a teacher of hope, healing, and to live again, to find that diamond within, right? And that's not easy. It's like literally Neo waking up in the Matrix for the first time, covered in that oil goo, tube down his throat where he pulls it out. He's looking around, all of a sudden he gets disconnected and he's flushed out. And that for the last few months, the last 10 months, that's kind of where I've been. But I also have the understanding that the things that are happening in my life are happening for me, not happening to me. Won't be the victim of it. Actually, will become stronger and more wise and more patient with all of that. And I always say, the calmer you are, the clearer you think. The calmer you are, the clearer you think. So move with strategy, not with emotions. And that's not always easy, especially as a Taurus. You start playing with the bull, you're going to get the horns, right? And so for me, it's been a lesson in patience and trusting the process and moving into calmer breath work or sound baths, which I now do as I'm a certified sound bath healer. So, today is question of perspective, and I'm just going to read a little bit story to you. It's a little bit of story time. So grab your coffee, grab your tea. Thank you so much for being here this morning. We're here on Fridays, most Fridays from starting at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. You can also go over to YouTube and catch my broadcast that's on right now from last week's show, The Diamonds of Being Alone. It's an article I wrote a couple months ago, and then I did a show last week. No, I'm sorry, that's 2 weeks ago. The Diamond Wheel. Last week's show is the cages of our mind and how we have an open door to the cage, but we don't want to walk out of our cage. So if you go over to YouTube, you can get the link here at marklainhart.com. Everything is at marklainhart.com now. And again, thank you to the subscribers. Again, I don't know what happened to my YouTube channel. I was trying to get to 500, and we're about to hit 8,000. So something must be happening with the universe, working with the universe, not against the universe, in alignment. And people are resonating with the messages, I guess. And so I thank you for that. And again, thank you to my Patreon prospectors, the subscribers, the top fans of the page, the Diamond Hub subscribers. I see you, I know you, I'm here for you. But let's read a little bit about perspective. So bear with me over this cup of coffee or this cup of tea. And while I cue this up, I'm going to be just reading it off screen here because I can't remember all of that. But check out last week's podcast. Great show about healing energy and mind. If you're in a place where you just feel like the world is a vampire, but the world has gotten the best of you, which I have felt for months based on what I'm going through. This was a great show, and I really needed to hear that. She wrote a great book. Her name's Brandy Gilmore. We don't have a show until now. We're in March, if you can believe that. We won't be back on the air until the 27th, I believe. We have our next guest, and then we'll be into April. Yeah, so we moved up a week. We do 2 shows a month, usually the second and fourth Wednesday of each month at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. Again, here at marklainhart.com or wherever you get your favorite podcast, you can find Inspired Living, which is a top-rated inspirational podcast now on a list of very amazing inspirational healers, teachers. It's humbling to be a part of this, to be honest with you, and thank you for that, because it's because of you and following and subscribing and leaving reviews, and that's what makes the show popular. And that's what, I've gotten people that are reaching out to me that I never would in a million years thought would reach out to me to be on my show. Example, Don Miguel Ruiz. We have Tony Stockwell coming up. People that I've long admired and learned from over the years, and being able to talk with them. So we'll be back on the air the 27th, but go check out that podcast. Again, you get it at marklainhart.com or wherever you find your favorite podcast. Just look for Inspired Living Radio. Look for my ugly mug off to the side. And I hope you enjoy that episode, because I really got a lot out of that. She was a great guest, and I really enjoyed having her on. So questions of perspective is today's topic. The elders of an Indian tribe met in a big teepee to discuss the problems and disputes in the community. In the middle was a huge diamond. All 7 sat in amazement at the diamond, which was beamed with sunlight from above. So vision like a yurt or a big teepee. That's kind of how I envision it. And in the center is a big, brilliant diamond. And there's 7 different elders sitting all in a circle, right? And wouldn't that be nice in society if our elected leaders, I don't get into politics here, it's a clown show, it's a circus, you choose what you want, I don't participate any longer. But wouldn't that be nice that we could get together with kindness and compassion and get past this zero-sum game to actually start working to do the benefit for the people, for the community, for the tribe, right? Versus these power elites playing each other. It's hard to watch. It's sad to watch. And a lot of you don't know, but our Constitution, which and how it was written, was actually saying off the Native Americans, the indigenous cultures, upstate New York, that got together and created the Constitution that Benjamin Franklin, which there's going to be a new series coming out with Michael Douglas playing Benjamin Franklin, a very fascinating gentleman in our history, to help write our Constitution for today because of the problems we see today. So I'm a constitutionalist, not a politician. And you'll look in the Constitution and there is no talk about politics, Democrat, Independent, Republic, right? Or green or libertarian, whatever your choice is. But the template was actually built from the indigenous cultures. And, I come back to that spiritual. The indigenous cultures had it right. We had it wrong. As a white skinned male, raised in capitalism, raised in, ownership and attachment, the indigenous cultures didn't have that. And, maybe in my past life, I was, a Native American. I don't know. I just resonate with the energy. But in this circle, you have 7 different perspectives, right? And this is question of perspective. And in this, excuse me, in the center of the circle, as the sunlight comes down through the top, there's a diamond in the center, and it's beaming. And the older one says, "Wow, I've never seen such a big, beautiful red diamond." The next one sitting next to him said, "Red? Are you colorblind? This diamond glows is the most beautiful green." So already we're starting to see, based on where they're sitting in the circle, the perspective of how the diamond is reflecting back. One sees red, one sees green. Another elder said, "You're crazy. The diamond is blue just like the sky." The youngest of the elders said, "I'm the youngest, but I see most clearly. The diamond is yellow, and at this time, I am right." The eldest of the round circle replied, "Phew, you might mean that, but as the eldest of the round, I'm always right. This diamond is purple, no excuse." Purple, I'm wearing purple for today. So as you're sitting in a circle with all of these elders in a community, in a teepee or yurt, they're all seeing the same diamond, that's where the sunlight's hitting the diamond, And from the diamond, it's giving different colors: green, blue, red, purple. And you've got one that's the youngest saying, I'm right. And you got one that's the oldest saying, no, I'm right. Does this sound like a little bit of our society about being you're too young to do that? You can't do that. Or you're too old. You can't do that, right? So based on our questions of perspectives, as we keep going with this story, the eldest, like I said, had said, "Whew, you might mean that, but as the eldest of the round, I'm always right. This diamond is purple, no excuses." So for real, as the only woman around here, I tell you that the diamond glows orange, the color of healing. That's what we need, said the oldest woman. The oldest warrior said, quote, "Sorry, you're all really crazy. No wonder we have no peace in our community. The diamond is definitely pink. You are all blind." Everybody started talking and yelling at each other, fighting, who's telling the truth, who's right. And they almost got their hair in the process. Like, they almost come into blows. Like, they're so passionate about what they see and what they believe. And suddenly, the eldest of the elders stepped into the teepee. He climbed onto the table and he looked at the diamond from above. He saw the diamond in all its glory with all its colors and said, quote, "Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth. You're all right and you're all wrong." Interesting, right? Everything is a choice if you think about it. In order to get an image, it's not only worth seeing both sides of the coin, but also looking at it as a whole. Another Native American Indian proverb says this, quote, "Walk 100 steps in another's shoes if you want to understand him." It teaches us to be humble, develop compassion, change our perspective regularly, working from a non-judgment, conscious bias, and accept there are millions of truth and it's all a matter of perspective. Now, some of you watching today, and I'll give you some shout outs here in just a sec when I'm done with this story, you could already find yourself conscious bias disagreeing with what I'm saying, right? You may think that society is hunky-dory and that we're not on a moment of history of, does democracy, I wrote an article about this last year, does democracy have an expiration date? I hope not. I love democracy. I don't love the politics that we see, not just here in the United States, but around the world, because it allows me to do shows like this, to have conversations like this. I wouldn't have been able 150 years ago to be able to talk about this out in society. That shows progress, slow progress, but progress nonetheless. This is a marathon, not a sprint. And so it allows me to talk about metaphysics. It allows me to talk about spiritualism. It allows me to talk about the psychic, which means of the soul. Psychic isn't, I'm not here to tell you your future. I'm not here to tell you the winning lottery number so you can live the rest of your life rich. That's not how this journey works. If you win it, congratulations, you're lucky and enjoy your life. But a lot of times, it's about your journey of the soul and who you are and why you're here. What are you doing here? That's what I talked about last week. The cages of our mind have an open door, but what keeps you going? What keeps you here, right? And for me, it's about just the curiosity of life and the things that I experience, both good, bad, right, wrong, happy, sad, all of the above. But it helps me to grow my soul. And that's what psychic really means, of the soul. Mediumship, connecting to what is not seen, but knowing that there is a world within our world, a vibration that allows us to know that we're not alone in this journey. We may feel like we're alone, but we're not, right? In fact, Lao Tzu says this: stop leaving and you will arrive. Stop searching and you will see. Stop running away and you will be found. Some of you, that makes sense. For some of you, you're like, what the hell is Mark talking about, right? So, as I continue with this story, they're right. Walk 100 steps in another person's shoes if you want to understand him. And we have a lot of misunderstandings based on our technology, based on our media, based on our smartphones, based on social media. And what that is doing from a nature, if I put it into a nature standpoint, if you take red ants and black ants and you put them in a jar, I put all the ants in the jar. It's my water, but red ants, black ants. Put them in the jar, clear through it. Think mason jar, clear mason jar. The ants will actually live in community. They will live in harmony. But if I go and I shake that jar vigorously, just shake the shit out of it, all of a sudden the ants start fighting. They start killing one another from a nature standpoint. It's not the ants that are the enemies of each other. It's me shaking the jar. And you have to ask yourself from a perspective, who is shaking our jars? Who's in control of our media? Who's in control of our politicians? Who's in control of our social media? There were a lot of people just the other day when Facebook went down, and Facebook and Instagram went down, and people thought there was a huge war going on, cyber attack. This is the end of the world. It just led to this fear, gloom, and doom. It's like, no, probably somebody pulled the wrong cord. We'll probably never find out, but I can tell you, lots of money was lost because our world is based on money, right? And that drive for money, that connection. We're more connected now in the history of the world, but we're more disconnected than we've ever been as a species, as a society, as a community, as a culture. So you put us in the jar of, this mason jar, different perspectives, and then you start shaking that jar, we start fighting each other. I see, and I've said this for many years now in our Roaring 20s, that I do see a great coming together. But before that great coming together, there's still going to be a shaking of this jar. There's still going to be fighting. There's still going to be violence. My heart goes out to the people of Gaza, Palestine, Israel. It's a horrible situation. War is horrible, but war also makes money. Wars will never end until we get past the concept of making money, capitalism. Same with the people in Ukraine and their battle for democracy against Russia. I mean, these are horrible events. These are innocent people dying every single day, and it breaks my heart. And I hold space in group and tribe on Wednesday. We just held space and sent healing out for those children, those innocents that are caught up as collateral damage in wars that we've been fighting for how long? But at some point, we're going to get to the point where we either evolve or we don't. And I'm seeing a great coming together. I don't know what the catalyst is. I don't know if it's something external from space, an asteroid, something internal, like from a super volcano. I live a few states over from a super volcano in Yellowstone. But you got to remember, we're on a very fragile balance. And at any time, that balance can be taken up and become unbalanced, right? But we have to ask ourselves, what or who is shaking this jar? And do we really need to fight against one another? At the end of the day, we actually have, if we just talk to one another and we're kind, compassionate, and we show love, we'll find that we have a lot in common as a species, depending if you're here in Seattle or you're clear across the world in New Zealand, right? We have differences and we have difference of perspectives, but that doesn't make you right, doesn't make me right, doesn't make you wrong, doesn't make me wrong. It's just a perspective. And if we can approach that with humility and compassion as a community, things will change. And I do believe things are going to change. But I also see before that time, there'll be another war. There'll be a civil war. There'll be a World War III. That breaks my heart. But we know that wars make money, and wars are driven by rich people where the poor go to fight. That's not my opinion. That's historical fact. So when we walk 100 steps in another's shoes, if you want to understand him, walk in their shoes. It teaches us to be humble, develop compassion, change our perspective regularly, not judgmental, and accept that there are millions of truths out there. It's all a matter of perspective. Our own truth is colored by our experiences, or what I like to say are soul adventures. They're driven by our truth of our feelings, our emotions, our experiences. That's exactly how it is with opinions. We must not lose decency and respect for others' truths and opinions. Sometimes we just have to accept to have different truths and opinions. And that in itself is the question of perspective. So when you find yourself through a trigger, through social media, through the media, through other means, family and friends, coworkers, take a step back and say, what's that perspective? Where are they coming from? What's their, maybe they're coming off as mean and aggressive, and be like, whoa, that's not me, but let me see what that perspective is. And that's what I really try to do. And before I respond with anything, I take a breath. I take a pause, the divinity of pausing, the practicing the pause. And like I said, the calmer you are, the clearer you think. And you move with strategy, not with emotions. And if we can start to do that as a change our cultural conditioning that we've been programmed to do. Again, a lot of it is based on war. Wars make money. Money drives mankind. Again, we're the only species that pays to live here. We're the only species that measures our life by time. We're the only species that celebrates a birthday because we went 365 days around a big ball of fire. We're the only species that creates our own fear, drama, and worry. We're the only species that cuts down trees to make paper money, or print out paper and then write on the paper, save the trees, and post it out. Very dysfunctional, very not evolved, actually devolved. And I think our Roaring 20s, and I feel and I know that our Roaring 20s will continue to transform through a renaissance, which happens after any global pandemic. Just go read history. I'm a student of history. I love history. if you learn history, you'll know where your future is going. And right now, our future is not going in a great place based on what our history has been and what happens after a global pandemic, all the way back to the 1600s, which gave rise to the modern worker. So lots of podcasts I've done over the 8 seasons talking about these different topics: the great coming together, the great global pause, the next renaissance. So you can go catch those. Like I said, the podcasts are my way of leaving behind messages and stories and visions, and whatever my legacy may be when I actually leave this um, ghost covered skeleton suit, right? Is just to offer perspectives. And that's really the art of being a strong spiritualist, is the ability to shift your perspective and to walk in another person's shoes. So I hope that makes sense. I hope that resonates with you this morning. If it doesn't, give it time. Sometimes it just takes learning, growing. What we resist persists, the lesson repeats until it completes. And for me to sit here and talk with you today on that conversation, that doesn't happen overnight either. So let me just give you some shout outs here real quick. I hope you enjoyed that story. Let's see. Again, good morning to all you Diamonds Hub subscribers. Let me get into the video here. It's kind of cool. On my page now, you can see when I'm live. And again, I'm live. I'm not live, but I'm over on my YouTube channel. You can be a part of that as well. So let me, good morning, Chris. Good morning, Colleen. Good morning to my team that's monitoring the page. My moderators have access to my page to keep the community clean, keep it positive, keep it, we can get some trolls and click bots and people like a spam. You know how you get a spam call that comes in on your cell phone? Very disruptive. We try to keep that page, this community page of the Intuitive Prospector, any of my pages really. I try to keep them as platforms for positivity, as I like to say. So thank you to my team of moderators and administrators that keep the community comments positive and inspiring, right? I always, the tagline for Inspired Living is to be inspired, to inspire others, and to inspire before we expire, right? So good morning to Victoria. How are you? Let's see here. Christina Lynn, good morning. I love the smiley face and the sunshine. Chris Cole, good morning, everyone. Sue Murray, welcome back. I finally found you again. Do you not do Monday mornings anymore? Great question, Sue. Yes, I had to switch months ago from Mondays because my career changed. My day job was mandated to come back to a full-time position, and so that didn't allow me to do Mondays. I'm off on Fridays now, but again, I'm in a big transition. But I loved doing Mocha Mondays. I really did. But that Monday was such a low vibration energy too, right? And it was to help set the tone for the week. But now we've just switched gears and we're at the end of the week to help you have a fun weekend. If hopefully you don't have to work on the weekend. If you do, I'm sorry, but we were trying to find inspiration. Maybe you've just had a long week and you come here to be like, I just needed to get that message today and get some, just the metaphysical meetup and talk about all things under the sun, right? So I did have to switch from Mondays to Fridays, and I just changed the naming a little bit from Metaphysical Mocha Mondays to Metaphysical Meetup with Marc. And just a reminder, on the first Friday of every month, if you're part of my Diamonds Hub subscribers, or you're one of my Patreon prospectors, or you're one of my star senders here, you get access now to the page you get personal readings. Thanks to everybody that came last week, which was March 1st. Had a good turnout of the community. So again, if you're a Patreon page subscriber on my Patreon page, Diamonds Hub, or you send stars here, you'll get a live reading from me if you're a star sender here. And I can tell because you'll have a badge. You'll have a badge that shows that you're a subscriber. And on the first Friday of every month now, I dedicate 2 times, 11:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. You come into a Zoom room. You only can get the link if you're in the actual Patreon page or the Diamonds Hub subscribers page. It's $4.99, by the way, which is less than a cup of coffee. And then I spend that time answering your questions. And it could be psychic. It could be mediumship. Last week one was mediumship. They wanted to talk to somebody. I always point out I will do my best, but I can never guarantee because I work with them. They don't work for me. That's very ego-based, and that's not how I work. That's not how I've been taught to work. But it is something we can take a go at. We can do some prospecting. That's why I am the Intuitive Prospector, to prospect. But we don't always find gold every single day. But when we work, eventually we do. We find either the diamond within, or we find all the gems that are all around us, right? So first Friday. So remember that next Friday, April will be April 5th. we will have an open platform for my subscribers now for Patreon, Diamonds Hub. And that first session is 11:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then the next afternoon session, if you can't make it during the day based on your schedule, 3:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. The links are different, but they are posted on the closed pages for my subscribers and Patreon. So just something to think about if that's what you want to do. But yeah, it was a great question, Sue. So it's good to see you again. I'm glad you made it here. Tara, good to see you. So if you look at Tara's name, Tara Bryant, she has a little green heart. That means she's one of my subscribers. So I can see this from a visual aspect. I know that she's a subscriber. So if Tara wants a reading, she can ask for one today. There's my mom. Good morning, Mom. Good morning, everyone. Good morning to Rosie. Good morning to Misha. Hey, Misha, how are you? I haven't seen you in a while. Welcome back. Good to see you, my friend. Denise Sanchez Cazares. Good morning, Katie. Good morning. Karen Lee. Morning. Misha's giving the hand signal. Good morning. Okay. So I thought what we would do, again, today's show was just questions of perspective. I hope you enjoyed that journey of, that we are all different people and we all have different perspectives, but at the end of the day, we can, find common ground. And society seems to have lost its way a little bit with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move into a 5-minute, just a meditation, just to help you to practice the pause, become aware of the present moment. A lot of us in our mindsets are either finding ourselves going back to a past we cannot change and a future that we cannot guarantee is going to come for tomorrow, right? And I'm always reminded of that. It's a podcast I did years ago. On average, every single day around the world, there are 50,000 souls that do not open their eyes. Old age, car accident, wrong place, sickness, what have you. And that's always kind of stuck with me that, am I going to sleep? And I ask myself, I go back to the Marcus Aurelius quotes. What does your death look like every day in vision? Or as Eleanor Roosevelt would remind us, do something that you're scared of every single day, because you don't know when your soul adventure ends here, when your journey ends. And I only became aware of this because of the extreme loss and grief that I experienced early on. I was only 27 when I was hit, which 27 from an astrology standpoint is an interesting age as well. So I'm just going to move to a fun picture. So let me get that queued up for you. Yes, Tara says, I will absolutely have a reading today. Okay. So Wendy, good morning too. Good to see you. Barbara, hey Barbara, good to see you. So again, I apologize if I'm not calling you out, just because I'm not seeing you. I don't control the algorithms of what Facebook does. But Tara, as we do our meditation, let me know what kind of card. Do you want a card reading? Do you want an inspirational meeting? Do you want a book reading? So just let me know. The only thing I don't do with the Q&A or for this back and forth through the comments is I don't do mediumship. Mediumship has to be done with your voice. Yes, no, I'm not sure. I don't remember that kind of thing. That's how my mediumship works. So, but let's move to a meditation. Let me cue up some songs, and I will be right back here. I want to share my screen. See if I got the right pictures. So the picture I have chosen for today should make you laugh. You all know that I'm a huge Star Wars fan. As you can see behind, these are the original posters from the 3 Star Wars movies that came out starting in 77 up through 84 and 89. And it's my reminder of that there is a true force. There's a force in your heart. There's a force that drives us to be here. There's a force that connects us all. And so the picture I'm going to share is going to kind of make you laugh. But we're going to just do a Medicine Mountain connection by Mignon Yelly is the name of the artist. And just so you know, all the music that I use now on my shows, YouTube, TikTok Live, Facebook Live, they're all copyright free. They're all royalty free. They're already pre-approved by Meta. So I can play these and not be in trouble for it or muted. So everybody take a nice deep breath. Let's move into the magic of the moment. Hi, Rosin Daly. Good to see you. Cara, good morning. Can't watch the live today. I can catch it later. Have a great day. All right. So thanks for dropping in, my friend. Another subscriber, Diamonds Hub subscriber. And let's move into some fun and just the magic of the moment. So let me share my screen. We're going to shut my video off. We're going to go to here. All right. So I keep we do know what we're made of, and we're made of awesomeness, spiritual awesomeness. So I love that. Just some Star Wars humor for this morning on a Friday, TGIF. Um, what is it? It's Friday. Friday, right? It's Friday. So I hope you have a great weekend. Admit it, you've at least once in your life tried to move an object of the force. I do believe that is a future that we will be able to tap into with technology and advancement of thought and brain. We're already doing that technically. Just imagine what 25 years from now looks like, 100 years from now looks like, what your children, your grandchildren are going to experience, and the things that are waiting to be discovered. It is a great time. I know it doesn't feel like it with everything going on in the world, but it's a great time to be alive, and there's good things still coming down the pike. So I just thought that was funny. I hope you enjoyed that and just took a moment just to practice the pause, take some deep breaths in, and just celebrate your life. Attitude for gratitude is always important, especially if you're in the muck, if you're in the mud and the goo, and just feel like life is just throwing lots of shit at you, lots of curveballs, which that's what life can do. So I got about 10 minutes here, so let's get into some readings for y'all. Let's see where we're at here. Oop. No, I don't want the weather. All right, so Tara, you want an inspirational reading for today. You got it. So again, if you look at Tara Bryant, she has a badge next to her. She's a subscriber, a Diamonds Hub subscriber. You go to the top of the Intuitive Prospector page, there's a subscribe button. It's $4.99. You just get more stuff with me. I had to move to a subscription base because I was just spending too much time giving away. And I do a lot of pro bono work. This is, we were talking about this in group on Wednesday. I know there are people out there, colleagues, professional colleagues, that charge thousands and thousands of dollars to have a reading or to clear out energy of a space. And that's just not who I am. I never got into this to be a money maker, if you will. I got into this to help people, to do my own healing, but to help other people heal. And so I try to keep my costs down, but also remember, your most important commodity is your time. It's the one thing you don't get back at the end of the day. So you're really paying to have access to my time, and I won't charge you thousands of dollars, I promise. So, hey, Samantha, how are you? All right, so let's get to Tara. She wants an inspirational reading. You bet. Let me see what I have for you here. I'm going to read from the book, The Art of Living by Thich Nhat Hanh. I love him. So let's just open up and see what he has to say for you. And I love to do this. I always say, do inspirational books. I would say probably not War and Peace, but you can find an inspirational book of anything. I've got lots of books, as you can see. I've got the University of Spiritualism, The Spirit Speaks, my book, Secret Signs, Emotional Intelligence, The Untethered Soul, which is a great book. But I'm just going to read from this one, from inspiration for you this morning. So the chapter I picked for you was chapter 4. I just opened up to impermanence. Impermanence. What it says is, now is the time. Thanks to impermanence, everything is possible. There are turtles that live to be 300 or 400 years old, and redwood trees that live more than 1,000 years. Our own lifespan is only about 100 years at most. How are we living those years? Are we making the most of our days? What are we here to realize and or to accomplish? So Tara, ask yourself that question. What are you here to accomplish? What are you here to realize in your soul adventure, in your journey? That's an important question, right? Later, we may look back and wonder, quote, what have I done with my life? I know that I've done that. I'm being halfway through my lifespan now. If I get to my goal is to outlive my biological father. I think he was 74 when he passed over into the spirit world, but he didn't take care of me. He was a heavy smoker. And my goal is to at least surpass that, try to get into my hundreds if I can. And people are living longer statistically, based on medicine and technology and health and, what we do, and not having to work, so hard, out in the fields or out, as a farmer. There are still hard workers out there. I'm not saying that, but, our life average has increased, right? So I always said, I want to go as long as I can have my faculties. If I start, I look at the journey of Bruce Willis, how he's losing his mind in the frontal lobe, right? It's horrible to watch, and I've worked with clients that have lost, family members to dementia or Alzheimer's. And it's such a, I watched my father-in-law from MS. I watched my brother from brain cancer. A lot, there's a lot of horrible stuff out there. So it just should bring back to that point of, why are you here? What are you here to realize? And what are you here to accomplish? So, and you will, as a human experience, and the conversations you have with yourself, the one person you talk to the most is yourself. You may actually say, what have I done with my life? I know that I've done that. Time goes by so quickly, and it does. They're showing that time is actually speeding up scientifically. Death comes unexpectedly. How can we bargain with it? To wait until tomorrow is too late. We all want to live deeply so our lives are not wasted. And when death comes, we won't have any regrets. And I can tell you here live on Metaphysical Meetup with Marc, if death came right now or death comes tomorrow, I lived a full life. I've done a lot of soul adventures. I've visited a lot of places. I've met a lot of people. I've done a lot of stupid things too, right? Probably the reason I have to get back surgery next month, because I put my body through to where, gravity and age, you can't change that, right? But I have to have back surgery, major back surgery, April 17th. So I hope for some of you that follow or into healing, that you'll hold space for a good procedure. I've never been in the hospital. The last time I was in the hospital overnight was when I was about 5 years old. I fell out of the tree on my head, and I had spent a couple nights in the hospital for concussion protocols. They thought I ruptured my spleen. So Tara, for you, think about what your journey is, what you want, right? And we all want to live deeply so our lives are not wasted. And when death comes, we don't have any regrets. When we are fully established in the present moment, right here, right now, we know that we are alive. So take that breath. Check your pulse. Take another deep breath. Got my tattoos mixed up, right? My true north and my breath. My true north and my breath, right? It's a miracle to be alive. The past is gone. The future has not yet come. This is the only moment where you can be alive, and we have it. And then it finishes up with this quote: we have to make this present moment into the most wonderful moment of our life. So Tara, make this the most wonderful moment of your life right now. Being here in Metaphysical Meetup with Marc. So we were talking about Metaphysical Mocha earlier, because that was what I used to do on Mondays, but now we're on Fridays. So does that help, Tara? Hey, Laura. Hey, Kelly from Michigan. Kelly Levine. Amy, man, hello. Samantha says pretty good. No complaints. Good. All right, Misha, what do you want, my friend? What can I do for you? All right, but Tara, did that help? Again, I'm just I'll do one more reading. It's almost 11 o'clock, and then I've got to get to paperwork and legal stuff. So go ahead and put your question. If I missed it, I apologize. I don't always see all the questions. It's an algorithm. Facebook controls that. So if I did miss your response, put bump with a star and then your question again, and I'll answer that best I can. If not, we'll call it a day and call it a Friday. I'm looking forward to the nice weather and some sun coming up, especially with my health conditions. I definitely need some warm weather. All right. So let's see here. So I'm not seeing any comments coming up on the live feed. So you got to put the comments in the live feed. That's the only way I'm going to see them right now. If you're messaging me, I would like, okay, Misha, Alan, I would like some inspirational messages for the week. Okay, let's do that. I'm happy to do that. And again, anybody else, last call for inspiration, for guidance, anything. Christina, you know that I don't do mediumship via the communications this way. You got to come into the video, and I'm not opening up the Zoom room today. So because you know that mediumship can be very clunky if we try to do the comments. So we can also do it, since you're a Patreon subscriber, we can do it Friday, April 5th, because that's when the Zoom rooms will be open. But just for the sake of time, I'm not able to open up the Zoom room today. But you can ask me another question. And again, whoever you're thinking of from a mediumship standpoint, just remember, they're only ever a thought away. So breathe them in, ask, believe, receive, perceive, and they will find a way to connect to you. The signs, the symbols, the synergy, and the synchronicities, which Einstein always said, synchronicities are God's way of remaining anonymous. So you know the drill. You're welcome. All right. Misha says, my best friend's daughter just passed away. I'm so sorry. I'm holding space for your friend and the grief that she must feel. And I've always said I think the hardest journey is for any parent that has to bury a child. My family's had to do it twice. My family's had to see two brothers go early into the spirit world. They're not gone. They just gone on ahead of us, right? So that's kind of the mindset I want you to be in, that they're not gone. You will see them again. Death and taxes are guaranteed for this journey. They've just gone on ahead and they're waiting for us. So, but you can always go to ask, believe, receive, perceive, take a breath, and they will find a way. It could be a thought. It could be a look-alike. It could be, I get dimes from heaven. I have stacks right off camera here from my brothers. Hey, Letitia, Baron, good to see you. So, but Misha, let me get you some inspiration, my friend. I'm going to go to the clairsentience deck for you because I think flowers. This is my latest deck. This is my newest deck that I just, when I was in England last year, I brought it back. Somebody bought it for me, so I was like, oh, let me thank you. So the card that I'm going to have for you, and again, I'm sure that you're grieving with your friend's daughter's passing. And again, I just send my condolences and holding space for your friend and for you. The card that was pulled from the clairsentience deck today is called the honeysuckle. So it looks like this. So Misha, I don't know if honeysuckle has any relevance for you, but maybe this is for your friend too. Maybe you can share this message with your friend whose daughter just passed on. And it says this: honeysuckle is a plant which urges you to stay true to your path in life and follow your intuitive and inner guidance. If so, you should find life's happiness, sweetness, and generosity. It also represents bonds of love in staying devoted to those you love and those who care about you. And that includes those that are on the other side. That love does not, the only thing that I have found to be true that carries on is love never dies. In fact, that was for those of you that are a fan of the opera, like I am, it's one of my top 5 Broadway. They did a follow-up called Love Never Dies. Wasn't as great, but it's still, the message resonates. Love never dies. Love continues on. And it says, allow your affection to be seen. Allow your affection. So with your best friend who whose daughter just passed, let your affection be seen. Let her know. You don't have to say anything. You can just by being there. So during the history, this bloom was thought to bring protection and prosperity to your home. The Victorian suitors gave honeysuckle flowers as a promise of true and undying love to their ladies. And that is the honeysuckle. You never thought you'd get that today, right? You never know what you're going to get with me. It's like a spiritual box of chocolates. Forrest Gump, right? All right. Christina Leon says, may I have an oracle card, please? You bet. So let me get to my oracle deck here. Bear with me. I don't want to knock my book over. It's propped up very nicely. There we go. All right, oracle deck for you. This is for Christina Lynn. Hi, Pam Allen. Hey, Lou. Are you enjoying nature? I just saw your pictures. You're out there prospecting. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So, Christina Lynn, you know the drill. Take a deep breath. Allow me to tune in. All right. So the card we have for you this morning is the Seek card. Now, this is interesting because it's a 9 energy. Now, you've got this lady sitting out in nature, cross-legged, meditating, connecting. The 9 energy means that there's something that should be completing for you. The journey for what you've been on should be coming to a completion, because 9 in numerology means completion, which means, we're in a 1 through 9 cycle. So, for example, we're in the year of 2024, which is the year of the 8, my year. It isn't just coincidentally the last time that we were in the year of the 8, which was 2015, is the same time that I broke a vertebrae off in my back, and I was in 9 months of recovery and rehab. But it gave me the appreciation that your health is your true wealth, not money, not what you have, not your attachments, your health. And how do you increase your health? By seeking nature, and let nature seek you. And isn't it funny that 8 years later, or the next time we're in the year of the 8, now I have to have major back surgery, right? So it's just interesting cycles, right? Everything is a pattern. Pay attention to the patterns, pay attention to the cycles. Pay attention to the Blue Jays as well. Something about the Blue Jays, I don't know if that actually resonates with you, but I know that you love hiking and I know that you love nature. So seek nature, because what you seek also seeks you back. Make sense? Okay, I hope that helps. If it makes sense, you can just throw likes or hearts out, or whatever you want. So, all right. Ugh. It's even hard to turn now. So hopefully I'm getting the Tiger Woods surgery. So hopefully after April, you'll see a whole new me. I'm on a strict weight loss diet. I have to lose weight before the surgery. And then I'm getting like this Terminator fusion, 2 screws and a thing that lifts my disc up. It's quiet. They're going to use a robot. It's kind of cool. The technology, when I first was evaluated 20 years ago by the first surgeon, who's since retired and told me to wait because technology improved. He was right. It was great advice. He could have done the surgery then and cut into my back. Now they're not even going to cut my back. They're going to go through my hip, and they're going to use a robot. So my recovery time, it used to be about 6-month recovery time. It's literally cut in half. So that's an example of how healing and how medicine and technology is allowing us to not live in such a pain body. And if I can have this pain be gone, you might see after April a whole new skinnier Marc, and you can join me on the journey. You can join me on this next soul adventure, because that's all it is for me. It's another soul adventure that I'm about to partake in, something I haven't had to do in a long time. It's going to be good to lose weight. It's going to be good to have no pain in my back and be able to get back to things I love, like golf and basketball, and things I haven't done for a while. And the surgeon even said to me, and he's pretty conservative when it comes to surgeries, he told me, "Marc, how the heck did you not do this 5 years ago?" So, and I'm like, well, meditation, qigong, chiropractic care, acupuncture, everything holistic, cortisone shots. But once you reach that point, then the next point is let technology and surgery make you maybe get me ready for the next 50 years so I can get to 100, right? So that's keeping my faculties. All right. So Christina Lynn says that totally resonates. Thank you. You're welcome, my friend. All right. Anybody else? I'm going to drop off here. If there's no other questions, or if I missed your comments, put star bump question again. Again, if you want to work with me in the future, I'm going to be kind of off books starting in the next 2 weeks as I prepare for surgery, and then the weeks after. So if you want to book anything, go ahead and get here, see what's available online at marklainhart.com. You can join my Diamond Sub subscribers here on Facebook. Just go up and hit that subscriber button. You can go over to my YouTube channel and join the 8,000. We're about to hit 8,000 subscribers. And again, thank you for that journey. You can also get my book if you want. And then in April, I'll be off for a little bit as I recover from my surgery. I'll try to do the shows if I can. We'll have to wait and see. But I hope to work with you in the future. And again, no podcast until the 27th. But you can always go replay encore shows. We have 8 seasons, so we have like 250 different shows with amazing guests and topics and interesting conversations. It's literally about discovering the diamond within and the many gems that are all around us. So I don't see any other comments coming in, so I will make that as my journey to end. Let me get a good song to close us out with. Let's do the what is this? The World Will Not Forget Us. Okay, so we're gonna cue that up by Masbo Q is the name. Let's see. All right, so we got the song queued up here, and what I'm gonna do as I close out the show too, I'm gonna leave us with some daily affirmations for where you're at in your journey. Things that you can just use for self-care and positive thinking in a world that seems to have lost its way and have gone crazy a little bit. And then I'll be back next Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time here on the Facebook page. And again, my other show will be streaming over on my YouTube channel, Soul Adventures. And then the next podcast will be on the 27th. So until our next soul adventure together, wherever you're in the world, be kind, be caring, be compassionate, and most importantly, dare to dream, dare to explore, dare to live, and discover that diamond within. I'll see you next time here on Metaphysical Meetup with Marc. Take care. Namaste.
We've seen a few nights, but we've seen as many dawns. Got a few scars from a couple heavy falls, but we don't ever let up. Always keep your head up, so this road will not forget us. This for them days in the backseat touring, and for them nights in the back room blazer. Every time I mention that I feel won't make it, say don't spill too many tears on the paper, just carry on. Think about the blessings put on me, and if they real, then who am I to fight against my G.O.D.? It makes you only wait you if you try to be low-key. That's why the journey to the top can be lonely. Used to wanna be a rock star before I made hip-hop songs. Stevie Cash, swinging hands, screaming like a monster. Played 100 concerts, little embarrassing to be honest, but I can't deny the resilience that it taught us. If you sell 1,000 tickets or you only sell some, give everything you got, make sure you're that well done. And even if you hate it, tell none, cause everything was worth it, even if your music only helps one. All the times I spent alone, try to pick my life up off the floor. Yeah, we seen a few nights, but we seen as many dawns. Got a few scars from a couple heavy falls, but we don't ever let up. Always keep your head up, so this road will not forget us. This road them days in the backseat touring, and for them nights in the back room balling. We can never let up, always keep your head up, so this world will not forget us. Now I can't lie and say I don't wanna be wealthy, but I know your hobbies where the real is kinda wealthy. How many cars, cribs, Louis and Chanel's can you own before you notice all your photos are just selfies? Yeah. How long before everything starts feeling like the same thing? How about when the pressure begins pummeling your brain? We're spending time to get more money, to spend money on more time. I wonder why our happiness ain't changing. Yeah. Now I think a little different about success. Yeah. Had to figure out the spirit of my quest. Yeah. Had to know the reason why I'm pressing on, staying strong, saying to the mirror, you can't give up yet. No. The journey and the legacy is treasure. The weight of your decisions is a scale by which you measure. So hold my daughter, she won't hear me talk about no never. We come this far, it's only gonna get better. Yeah, we seen a few nights, but we seen as many dawns. Got a few scars from a couple heavy falls, but we don't ever let up. Always keep your head up, so this road will not forget us. This road them days in the backseat touring, and for them nights in the back room balling. We can never let up, always keep your head up, so this world will not forget us. We embrace the night, we gon' face the fight, even if the odds are against us. We embrace the night, we gon' face the fight, even if the odds are against us. Even if the odds are against us.
One planet, 7.3 billion people, only one you. Life offers us many opportunities and learning experiences. Are you ready to explore and discover this beautiful planet, the life and energy all around us, the spiritual world, and what is unseen, along with your own personal soul adventure? Marc Lainhart, the intuitive prospector, is the spiritual connection you have been prospecting for. Internationally known as a tested and professional clairvoyant medium and spiritual advisor, Marc's work as a metaphysical teacher, medical instructor, radio show host, inspirational writer, and hiking guide are here to help you on a journey of self-discovery, healing, inspiration, education, and a whole lot of spiritual awesomeness. Dare to dream, dare to explore, dare to live. For more information on Marc's spiritual practice in Seattle, Washington, please visit marclainhart.com or internet search The Intuitive Prospector.